What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money, saving money, building generational wealth, and financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars learning in grad school, I give it to you for free here on Financipation. And as a person who's an MBA, I know a lot about what I'm talking about, okay? So before I get started, I also want to give a shout out to Kilica Solutions. They're one of my sponsors. If you need digital marketing, website development, or someone to essentially edit your YouTube videos, they're the best in the business at meeting all of your digital needs. Also hit that notification bell so you know when I drop new content. First off, before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Coach Dawn Staley down at USC. Her Gamecocks have went 103 in basketball, and they won a national championship in 2024. I personally like to celebrate excellence on my channel, so I want to give a shout out to Coach Dawn Staley and her lady USC Gamecocks in basketball, okay, down in South Carolina. Full disclosure, everybody, this is a finance channel. And I rarely talk about sports on Financipation because there's a lot of people that do that. And I deal with typically Roth IRAs, investments, building generational wealth, things of that nature. Having said that, a few weeks ago, I did a podcast on Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie. And after I did that podcast, I had an overwhelming and huge response from a lot of my subscribers saying they wanted me to do a podcast on Caitlin Clark, the former University of Iowa basketball star, and essentially the finances behind her as well. As I said earlier, this is a finance channel. It's not a sports channel, but I am a man of the people. And because of that, I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and do a podcast on Caitlin Clark and kind of talk about the finances behind what she has done and what she's accomplished in female basketball and what she's probably going to accomplish from an evaluation standpoint in the WNBA. So first and foremost, who is Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark was born on January 22nd, 2002 in Des Moines, Iowa to Brent and Ann Clark. She grew up in West Des Moines, Iowa, and she started playing basketball at 5 in boys' leagues because her father couldn't find a girls' league for her to play basketball in. So Caitlin Clark also played softball, volleyball, tennis, and golf as a child, but she eventually focused on basketball because that was her first love. At age 13, Caitlin Clark started playing several years ahead of her age group because she was so good at basketball. And her father would drive sometimes upwards of 3.5 to 4 hours to drive around the state of Iowa playing AAU basketball. Clark's favorite players growing up were Maya Moore and Harrison Barnes because Harrison Barnes was born and raised in Iowa. In high school, Caitlin Clark played 4 years of varsity basketball at Dowling Catholic High School in West Des Moines. And as a freshman, she averaged 15.3 points per game, 5 assists, and 2.3 steals per game. In her sophomore year, she averaged 27.1 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, and 3 steals. And her team went 20-4, and they lost in the quarterfinals in high school. In her junior year in high school, Caitlin Clark averaged 33 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, and she was named the Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year. And in her senior year in high school, Caitlin Clark averaged 34 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, and her high school went 19-4. And she was selected to the McDonald's All-American game and the Jordan Brand Classic. College. For college, Caitlin Clark was a 5-star recruit, and she was ranked the #1 female point guard in all of America. But she committed to go to the University of Iowa because it was closer to home. She'd play immediately, and she kind of preferred their more up-tempo version of basketball, which essentially was a lot closer to what the modern-day version of basketball is, as far as like Steph Curry shooting half-court three-pointers and things of that nature. In her freshman year at Iowa, Caitlin Clark led her team to the Sweet 16. They averaged 27 points per game, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. And she won the Dawn Staley Award and set program freshman records for points and assists. In her sophomore year at Iowa, Caitlin Clark and her team lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and she averaged 27 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. And she led Division I basketball in points and in triple doubles. In her junior year at Iowa, Caitlin Clark averaged 28 points per game, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, and she lost to Angel Reese's LSU Tigers in the national championship game. Yeah, it was that same game that Angel Reese did this essentially and said, "You can't see me," that same pro wrestler move that was heavily criticized by a lot of people. To Caitlin Clark's credit, and I will give her credit for this, she basically immediately shot down the stupid conservative critics that was coming at Angel Reese and said, "Look, this is basketball. We talk junk to each other in basketball just like the men do." And well, I actually kind of found that kind of cool because Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, from 1,000 feet away anyway, looked to seem to have a very professional, but also very contentious relationship on the court or off the court. It seems like it's nothing but love. I find that to be pretty dope, actually. As I said earlier, everybody, in her senior year, Clark lost in the national championship game to the female basketball powerhouse USC and Coach Dawn Staley. And Caitlin Clark in her senior year averaged 32 points per game, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. After her loss to USC in the national championship, Caitlin Clark declared for the WNBA draft, and she was selected as the #1 overall draft pick in the 2024 WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever. And no disrespect to Cheryl Miller, to Diana Taurasi, Shamika Holslaw, Candace Parker, and women of that magnitude, that stature. Caitlin Clark is probably the most hyped female basketball player of all time, and she definitely is the most hyped female basketball player of my lifetime. And in a lot of ways, she's drawn comparison as being called essentially the female version of Steph Curry because of the way she plays basketball and the way she essentially shoots 3-pointers from half court. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop new content. Please hit a like button. Please comment. Please share. Please subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. Okay. Now, I've talked about the sports and the athletic aspect about being Caitlin Clark. Now I want to talk about the meat and potatoes, the finances behind being Caitlin Clark, as well as the NIL deal. Okay. So let's start with that. So first off, as I said earlier, everybody, Caitlin Clark has been a powerhouse when it comes to playing basketball on the court, but off the court, she's been a financial superstar. So if you're not familiar essentially with what the NIL stands for, it stands for name, image, and likeness. And it's part of a landmark Supreme Court ruling that allows college athletes to make money off of their jersey sales, name recognition, and likeness. So, for instance, if you're not aware of this, in 1992, Chris Webber was the best member of the talented Fab Five that played for Michigan. And when he was in college, Chris Webber said that he was so broke, he could not afford to put $2 worth of gas in his car, or he couldn't afford to basically buy a burger at McDonald's. But at that same time period where he played basketball at Michigan, they made over $11 million a year off of his jersey. So imagine that for a minute. You are so broke that you basically can't put gas in your car, but where you're actually working, they made over $11 million every year off of you. That was essentially the plight of college athletes prior to the NIL deal. But now the Supreme Court changed that. College athletes all over America can essentially make money off of their name, their image, and their likeness. Caitlin Clark has over 1.8 million followers on Instagram. And if she does an advertisement for, say, a bank in Iowa or fires off a social media tweet on Instagram or things of that nature, it doubles as an ad, and a significant portion of that money can come back to her. Now, there are two separate markets in the NIL deal that I'm going to talk about in this podcast. The first market largely compensates athletes through brand deals, and the athletes are typically paid or given free products for posting promotional content on social media. Like I said earlier, the NIL allows the best and the most popular athletes to essentially receive a cut of the sales for merchandising with their name and their numbers on it. The second market, which tends to be a lot more lucrative, involves athletes earning de facto salaries from donor-funded groups called collectives. And the collectives are affiliated with schools but are not an official part of them. Essentially, they pay athletes for charity work, and they have a heavy influence on football and in basketball recruiting. So, as a way to raise more money, many of these collectives are 501c3s, nonprofits, which means the donations are tax deductible. And because they are 501c3s, the IRS typically kind of is not into the point of shutting down the nonprofit collectives. And as a result, it allows athletes to make more money. So the NIL is essentially what your blue chip, old school, blue blood type of coaches complain about, because it allows another top recruit to essentially go to another school or to transfer somewhere else. But the NIL is also how smaller Division I schools went from not quite relevant to landing certified WNBA, NBA, and NFL five-star talented top recruits in football and men's basketball and in women's basketball after they have not been relevant as far as attracting five-star recruits for over a decade. Her valuation: Caitlin Clark, at the time of this recording in 2024, according to Forbes magazine, has an NIL deal valuation of roughly $3.1 million with an M. And according to Forbes, Caitlin Clark's NIL endorsement portfolios are with Gatorade, State Farm, Nike, Xfinity, Panini, and Hy-Vee. Caitlin Clark's deals are essentially long-term, and they were going to continue even though she just got drafted to play professional basketball by the Indiana Fever in the WNBA. They're essentially going to go with her from college to the WNBA, just like it's going to do for Angel Reese. And lastly, the financial numbers that I said in that $3.1 million of Forbes valuation don't include the ad money Caitlin Clark receives every time she sends out a tweet on Twitter or posts a marketing strategy on Instagram. So, as I stated earlier at the beginning, Caitlin Clark is using her basketball skills on the court to dominate people, but she's using her marketing skills and her basketball skills off the court to financially emancipate herself from poverty and to build generational wealth for herself and for her family. The next thing I want to talk about in regards to Caitlin Clark is this narrative I'm hearing as far as quality and being paid fairly in sports and things of that nature. And it's really one of those kind of things where, unfortunately, you're starting to see the toxic aspects, in my opinion, of feminism negatively affecting the reality of capitalism. Okay, so Caitlin Clark was recently drafted as the #1 overall draft pick in the 2024 WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever. And fans were literally horrified at the fact that in her rookie year, she would only make $78,000 to play professional basketball in the WNBA. For comparison's sake, a year ago, the #1 overall draft pick in the NBA was a 7'5" small forward from France named Victor Wembanyama. And he was paid $12 million to play professional basketball in the NBA his rookie year. Immediately, when feminists saw that Caitlin Clark was only going to make $78,000 her rookie year and Victor Wembanyama made $12 million his rookie year, they were pissed. Because I'm a finance guy and I'm an athlete and I actually understand how capitalism and the free market works, I personally found this to be absolutely ridiculous that they were trying to say that the WNBA rookie Caitlin Clark should be paid the exact same as the NBA player Victor Wembanyama. And it's not a sexist statement. It's not a political statement. It's just the cold hard realities of facts when it comes to basketball and the revenue the NBA generates versus the revenue the WNBA generates. So, for instance, full disclosure. In 2020, Sue Bird played for the Los Angeles Sparks. In 2020, LeBron James played for the Los Angeles Lakers. In 2020, Sue Bird won 4 WNBA championships. In 2020, LeBron James won 4 NBA championships. In 2020, Sue Bird's salary was $215,000. In 2020, LeBron James' salary was $37.7 million. In 2020, Sue Bird won an $11,000 bonus for winning the 2020 WNBA championship. And in 2020, LeBron James won $370,000 bonus for winning the 2020 NBA championship. So after looking at these numbers, I've heard feminists and beta male simpy type guys scream that these numbers they all point to sexism and sports, and that Caitlin Clark and women in the WNBA should be paid the exact same as men in the WNBA. It's just not fair. After looking at these numbers, I've heard feminists and I've heard little simpy beta male type guys scream that these numbers all point to the sexism in sports and that Caitlin Clark should be paid the same as the men in the NBA. It's just not fair. People, this is an absolutely ridiculous narrative, and it makes literally no financial or capitalistic sense for the following reasons. First of all, according to a 2023 study done by Richard Janvin and Forbes, in 2023, the WNBA generated $60 million with an M in revenue. In 2023, the NBA generated $10 billion with a B dollars in revenue. In 2023, the average WNBA ticket was $47. In 2023, the average NBA ticket was $94. In 2023, the average attendance price for a WNBA game was 5,680 people. In 2023, the average attendance for an NBA game was 17,184 people. The average WNBA team is worth less than $5 million with an M. The average NBA team is worth $3 billion with a B. The WNBA is literally owned by the NBA. And according to the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, the WNBA made $0 in profit in 2023 and has never made a profit in its 27-year history. Whereas also according to Adam Silver, the NBA made a profit of $4 billion with a B dollars in 2023 and is significantly more popular internationally than baseball and American football. So to all my people asking why is it that Caitlin Clark doesn't make as much money as a female basketball player as NBA players like Steph Curry or Victor Wembanyama or LeBron James, the answer, everybody, is simple. The NBA brings in literally more than $10 billion annually more and is arguably the second most popular sport in the world behind soccer. The answer is simple, everybody. The NBA brings in literally over $10 billion more every year than the WNBA, and it is arguably the second most popular brand in the sporting world behind soccer. Whereas the WNBA has literally never made a profit in its 27-year history. And for 27 years, it's literally been financially carried and paid for by the male athletes who play in the NBA every year. Once again, this is not a sexist statement and it's not a political statement. It's a capitalistic fact and it's backed up by dollars and cents. In closing, I also want to give one last shout out to Caitlin Clark. I've been very vocal on this channel about my love for mixed martial arts, boxing, and kickboxing. But basketball was my first love, and I grew up playing basketball in the hoods and playgrounds literally all over America, and I played in high school. This is the first time in my life where I can legitimately say guys in the hood and people in the suburbs were talking about women's basketball in the barbershops and all over America instead of talking more so about men's college basketball. I can literally never remember a time in my life where brothers spent more time talking about, once again, the women's college basketball game over the men's college basketball game. And to me, this was largely because of women like Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, and Caitlin Clark. In 2024, Caitlin Clark generated over $50 million with an M for Iowa. In 2024, 16 million people tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark play against Angel Reese and the LSU Lady Tigers. And in 2024, over 24 million with an M people tuned in to watch her play in the national championship game, where she eventually lost to Coach Don Staley in the USC Lady Gamecocks. And in 2024, for what it's worth as well, Caitlin Clark signed a $28 million with the M dollar deal with Nike, and she's going to get her own signature shoe deal. And personally, I love it because on this channel, everybody, I push people using their God-given talents to build generational wealth and to financially emancipate themselves from poverty. And I love the fact that Caitlin Clark is doing that for her family. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. The link is below. I am not giving you financial advice on this channel. You can do your own research and your own thorough independent research that you conduct for yourself and make your own intelligent financial decisions, okay? Thanks for listening, everybody. Please follow me at www.therealfinancipation.com, Instagram, thereal_financipation, Spotify, Financipation, TikTok, Financipation. My Facebook page is Financipation. Check out my financial blog, Financipation, okay? Check out some of my digital, my e-products below as well. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so that you know when I drop new content. And thanks, Kilica Solutions, for all of these graphics. It's your boy, Chris. I'm out. Peace. Peace.